This video and all other videos on this channel for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and things are heating up in the Bitcoin space, right? Things are heating up. The setup, the backdrop is phenomenal, so I'm going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about this whole idea of distribution versus reaccumulation. I also wanted to briefly touch on altcoins, because if I'm going to be invalidated on my ideas about altcoins, then we should start to see that play out in the not too distant future. So I was going to talk about that briefly and spend a little bit of time talking about gold as well. So look, first of all, we tagged 80k, and as of the time of recording, we're now blasting through $81,700. So that's pretty wild, right? And unfortunately, for most, this is a lockout rally to which most people seem to be underexposed, okay? And so this is going to keep happening. I'm going to show you the mechanism for this and why this is going to keep happening. And I'm also going to show you that whilst everyone seems to want a dip to buy, okay, I don't think you're going to get a dip anytime soon, okay? Which sounds kind of crazy, I know, but there's a reason for that. People are underexposed. They don't have enough Bitcoin. They didn't believe Bitcoin could break out, okay? They just don't have the positions they need. And so pain trade right now is to keep locking people out, is to keep moving Bitcoin higher. People are also doubting this breakout to all-time highs is for real, okay? We spent so much time, 7+ months, consolidating around the prior all-time high. Now we've broken out and people are going, nah, I don't believe it, it's a trap, right? Which is crazy, but that's exactly what you want to see if you're a bull, right? If you're in position, if you're a bull on Bitcoin, okay, then this is perfect. You don't want people to be believing this thing is for real. You want people to keep doubting it the whole way. People are also begging for dips and begging and praying and hoping they can get in lower down because, indeed, they are underexposed, okay? They didn't believe in this move. They didn't get in position right. And now they're just hoping and praying that a dip's going to show up so that they can get in a bit lower down. They are also psychologically unable to buy here, okay? And what I mean by this is most people thought that it was going lower here. They didn't get positioned at this low. Even if they did, they got shaken out on this little half cycle low. And since then, needless to say, Bitcoin just keeps blasting higher. Now think about it like this. If you were psychologically unable to buy here, okay, then you're definitely going to be psychologically unable to buy here, right? If you were like, no, I'm not buying that, are you now going to FOMO in at 82k? Probably not, right? So this is what I mean by people are psychologically unable to buy at these levels, okay? They just can't justify it in their mind. I can't possibly pay 82k now, right? The move must be nearly over. But all this does is create an immense pressure build up, right? It creates a massive wall of FOMO, which is eventually going to cause these people that are sidelined to say, F it, just get me in. I don't care what the price is. I've got to start chasing this higher because it's not stopping, it's not slowing down, and it's not giving me the pullback that I've been hoping and praying and begging I'm going to get. And all of this is occurring against a backdrop where all I see is a bunch of people convinced 85k is the top because of this 5.3 rule, right, which is intellectually dishonest, and the entire space is frankly embarrassing because the entire market was too lazy to check that guy's calculations, right? I did it, and they're bogus. They are completely fake. They're completely made up, okay? They don't work. And yet, so many of the market participants think that 85k is the top because of the 5.3 rule, okay? Just doesn't make sense. Anyway, the reality is, okay, we snapped from 68k to 82k in about 1 week, okay? And now we're about 10%. We're about a 10% move from 90k, okay? Bitcoin can do that in 1 or 2 candles, no problem at all. And yet, all we have is people going, no way it goes higher than this number. No way it goes higher than that number, okay? But like I said, we just hit 80k in 4 candles. So this thing is probably just getting started. And you definitely don't want to be waiting 7 months through this base only to sell in the first week that we get a pop-up. And the absolute harsh reality is this is going to continue, okay? This squeezing higher, this no dip, no pullback, lockout rally is going to continue until people move from disbelief into hope. Only once they believe this rally is for real can they start to get fully exposed and chase this move higher. Only once they have eventually said, F it, get me in, I don't care about what the price is, I'm too underexposed, this rally must be for real even though I was doubting it the whole way. Only then, when everyone starts to chase this market higher, will we actually get the first proper and true pullback and shakeout. All the while all of these conditions exist, okay, then expect this lockout rally to continue. So it is an absolutely beautiful setup, right? We had this huge move off the lows, we digested it for 7 months, and now we're breaking out, and people want to sell here, right? I mean, just zoom out a little bit. That wouldn't even look right, at least not to my eyeball. Think about what these people are saying. They're saying, yep, we moved up, consolidated, and boom, that's the top, and off we go, okay? That's the end. That's the entire bull run. That, okay? It just doesn't even look right. So I think it's more likely that we spent all this time in here, and now what we're getting ready for is something like this, okay? That would fit. That would look much better. And the hardest part of all is going to be staying on this trend, okay? Not letting it throw you off and not letting it convince you that, you know, that must be the top. Because, you know, look at this big green candle, right? Bitcoin can do these huge pumps. And like I often say, Bitcoin does Bitcoin things, which means it convinces people it's never going to do it. And then it just does it and leaves a bunch of people wondering, how could it possibly have done that, right? But that's exactly what it does. That's why we're here in the first place. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about maybe this move is a trap. Maybe this is distribution, right? But I think those market participants are wrong for a number of reasons. First of all, OV Crypto has proposed this a long time ago. He's been following it in real time and he nailed it. We got this big reaccumulation and now we've broken out and now we're trading at like 82K. So happy days, take this one off. I think this is what's in play. Now there is always a chance that instead of that, what we've got is distribution. This current move up to 82K could easily be this part, okay, UTAD, and then off we go down into markdown campaign. That is entirely possible because it's a market. I don't think it's very likely, but that is entirely possible. But when I said the market keeps getting this wrong, if this is indeed upthrust and what comes next is a markdown campaign, then notice how people aren't really calling for that. What they're calling for is this to be a trap, a move down, and then once we get here, a rip to all-time highs, right? There's no reason to think that. If this really is distribution, if this really is a trap, then that's the top, and we're going into a bear market. But like I said, all I really see is people saying, no, I'm not buying that, this is a trap, and what comes next is a perfect sweet spot entry for me to buy at 49K before then we get to reverse and go up to 150 plus K. And I just don't think that makes sense from a cycle perspective as well, okay? Let's also talk about this. 4-year cycle low in around November of 2022. We expect another one in November of 2026, right? Somewhere around that neighborhood. And thus, we are right in the middle of the 4-year cycle. This current month is the halfway point. So the whole idea of a left translated cycle top is likely invalidated now. We're probably not going to get a left translated cycle top unless, of course, we are doing that distribution, we're about to crash and we're never coming back. But another reason why I think this whole idea that this is a trap, we're going to go to 49K and then moon, is because that is predicated on this whole corrective wave being an expanded flat, A, B, and then C, right? Now, if that's true, this leg has to kind of match with this leg in terms of time. And if we spend another 7 months doing something like that, okay, if we do something like this, let's be generous, okay, from here, just in terms of time, and it comes all the way down to whatever the number is, okay, that means we're not going to find a low until about March or April. And then from there, we've only got a few months before an ultra right translated cycle top would occur. So from a cycle perspective, this doesn't even make sense. There's just not enough time to have this big corrective move down to 49K and then see a rip to all-time highs in October, okay, the top in October. That would also look very, very strange from a 4-year cycle perspective. It would have me and Bob calling tops, okay? We get back below this all-time high now, okay? And we've got major technical damage. This would indeed be upthrust. And like I said, the thing people are getting wrong is they think upthrust occurs and then a huge rip to new all-time highs, okay? That's not how distribution works. If this is distribution, if this is a trap, then that's it. That's the top. We could say maybe it was left translated, maybe it was mid-translated, okay, it really depends where the 4-year cycle low forms, okay, but like I said, this scenario of distribution, new lows, and then new all-time highs doesn't make any sense from a cycle perspective at all. It basically seems impossible. It seems like there's only really 2 scenarios left on the table now. One is, that was the top, and down we go, and that's it, all the way to the 4-year cycle low, no more bull market, no more all-time highs until after 2026, or the other one, which I think is what is in play here, is we've done this huge move, consolidated it, and now we're moving into price discovery, okay? And it's going to go way, way, way higher than anyone thinks, and that's simply because people are underexposed to the move, okay? They don't believe in it. They're begging for dips when they're just getting locked out. They can't buy here psychologically because, like I said earlier, oh, I'm not buying that at 49K. Well, if you weren't buying at 49, you're definitely not buying at 82, right? If you weren't buying at 70 and then 72 and then 75 and then you're going to buy at 82, where are you going to buy? You're going to buy 85? You're going to buy 90? 95? You see what I mean, right? They're locked out now. This is what is going on. And very quickly as well, you know, right now people are happy not to buy 85 or 82 or 90 because they really think that that's the top. They think it's not going way, way, way higher than that. But what do you think is going to happen when they realize they're flat wrong about this, okay? And all of this is predicated on a 5.3 rule where the guy lied about the data. So absolutely beautiful, beautiful backdrop. Huge, monstrous bullish setup. under the hood for people that are in position. If you're not in position, then I understand this is probably absolutely horrible and horrific to sit through. And if you think about it, okay, this still kind of makes sense and still more or less fits the base case hypothesis of the channel. Yes, I thought that we weren't going to spend 7 months in here. I thought what we were going to do is spend significantly less than 7 months, something like this at the most, and then go up to form a left translated cycle top. That's what I thought, okay? Clearly, we never got that breakout, okay, until just now. But ultimately, look how it doesn't change much in terms of the implications. If this is in play, and I believe it is, I don't believe the macro backdrop is supportive of letting this thing run into October of 2025. I just don't believe that personally. Happy to be wrong about that, but if this continues to squeeze in a near vertical manner like I expect it to, then it is going to top way sooner than October. It's probably going to top sometime between, I don't know, January and March, right? And yes, technically speaking, if it does, that would be a right translated cycle. But whilst I would have been out by a few months in terms of the month, number one, if we can sell somewhere up here, then we would still get to nail the top. And number two, and this is the most important part, the implications of an earlier than expected top are that there is more time left in the 4-year cycle than we are used to seeing, and thus we would still have to spend closer to 24 months in a bear market than the normal 12 that we are used to seeing for Bitcoin. So although I'm out by a few months, okay, although I was calling for left translation and that is now clearly invalidated, well, unless this is in play, but I don't think it is. Overall, okay, the Camel Crew have been expecting a lockout rally. They have been expecting a much earlier than expected top. The macro backdrop, I think, fits this, okay, because we've got the stock market moving into third and final parabolic blow-off top angles. Okay, let's zoom out and see this. Yeah, 1, 2, now in that third, going near vertical. So if this thing has got a couple of months left in it at the most, maybe takes us to, I don't know, December, January, and then we see something break, okay, then what will this look like? This will look like this, okay, and then a breakdown, and then it can start to do its distribution and break down again. And in here, there'll be just enough time. My mouse is, wait, let me go again. In here, okay, there'll be just enough time for Bitcoin to finish completing that blow off top move. Okay, so for me, this all makes a lot of sense. Yes, it's not going to be left translated. Yes, I was out by a few months and that's fine. But remember, it's not about being right or wrong, right? It's about staying on the right side of the trade, which currently we absolutely are. We've just printed an 82K candle, by the way. In the time of recording, 82.1 now. So again, this is going to continue until people capitulate, until people realize where we are in the cycle, and until people say, okay, F it, get me in, I don't care at what price. And then we will have a big shakeout. I do wonder if that coincides with the 100K level, right? I wonder if we get up to 100K and then we maybe get quick, boom, and then one of those, and then that's all she wrote. We're going to find out, right? We're just going to keep taking it one day at a time and staying on top of this as much as possible. But the other thing I think is important to point out here, okay, is the more vertical this goes, then the more this is in play. So if you don't want this to occur, or you don't think this is going to occur, then you need to see this thing kind of go sideways or have some more severe kind of chop or whatever, or roll over and break down if you're a distribution supporter. Anything other than just rocketing higher here, and this is probably not in play. But, you know, if this is in play, and I believe it is, I also believe this is the best fit for the macro backdrop and the stock market and everything else, then this thing's going to get very, very violent very quickly, and most people are going to get it wrong, frankly. And the reason I say most people are going to get it wrong, right, is not only are they not exposed to this move, as I said earlier, but they're also all using these weird models, be it the stock to flow, be it power law, be it some dynamic power law, right? Everyone is using these, and note what they're expecting. They are expecting a bog standard, right translated cycle that tops in October of 2025 and then undergoes a 12-month bear market. And again, I suggest to you that's on a balance of probabilities, not likely. And the reason is we've had one right translated 4-year cycle, okay? 2 right translated 4-year cycles, 3 right translated 4-year cycles, and now the 4th one is expected to left translate. Now clearly it's not going to left translate, but if it mid translates, or here's the important thing, slightly right translates, which I think is probably what's at play, it still implies that extended bear market decline. And here's the other thing, okay? Markets move to harm the most amount of participants. Now we can invalidate left translation. Now everyone can say, well, yeah, I told you the cycle was never going to change. I told you nothing was different. Now ask yourself this question: which is more painful for the most market participants? Is it A, having a bog standard right translated cycle that tops in October and undergoes a 12-month bear market, where the entire market gets to look left and go, oh, it did it there, it did it there, it did it there. Okay, so yeah, we know exactly what months to sell and we know exactly how many months of bear market is coming, right? Is that the pain trade? Or, like I said, is the pain trade everyone locked out? Up here, they'll be screaming super cycle, right? 300, 900, a million bucks, whatever it is. That's what they're going to be screaming. And no one, hardly anyone is going to be saying, oh, you know what? I think 24 months of bear market makes the most sense here, right? And all of these power law, power model, whatever it's called, right? All of these guys are going to be going, no, my model says October of 2025, right? That's not how markets work, right? If everyone's thinking the same, someone's not thinking. And believe me, everyone is thinking the same here. So I still think it fits, like I said, it fits the macro backdrop, it fits the pain trade idea. Absolutely wild times to be alive. I would love nothing more than this, okay? If we get to October, then I can practically just sell without looking at the price, and I would know that I've practically nailed the top without even needing to check the chart, okay? Because that's how cycles work, and the 4-year cycle low will be due. But I just don't think that's coming. I think this is going to be really, really difficult for people to deal with, and I think it's going to look much more like that. So, as ever, one day at a time, right? Super, super wild time to be alive. What about alt season? Okay, I still am rocking with the base case that there's going to be no broad-based alt season, okay, thin breadth. But what if I'm wrong about this? What if I am going to get invalidated on this, which is more likely now than ever? Because the whole reason I thought no broad-based alt season would take place is because I was expecting a left translated cycle top, okay? The two are married as an idea. If we were going to have an earlier than expected top and a big bear market and recession for Bitcoin, then it makes perfect sense that we wouldn't see rotation into alt season, right? But since left translation is now off the table, okay, and the whole idea that it might top sooner than expected is still to be determined, right? I could easily be flat wrong about this, and maybe it's as simple as just looking at these silly models and saying, yep, okay, October 25, 12-month bear market. Maybe it really is that easy. And if it is, then that likely means I will be wrong and invalidated about alt season too. So here's what that would look like, okay? It would look like this. It would look like ETH would get sent, okay, and then the gains would get rotated out of ETH and into lower caps, and then they would get rotated out of lower caps into absolutely anything that is crypto, blockchain related or whatever. However, if I'm right about alt season, watch for these pumps in alts to stop very short and reverse very fast. Similarly to how people are getting this Bitcoin trade wrong. And the pain trade right now is to just keep locking them out. You know what the real pain trade is for altcoins? Okay, everyone thinks I'm holding my bags for the long term, right? I'm holding my bags for 100x, 1000x or whatever. But the pain trade is most of them having just made new lows, pop up, I don't know, 2x, and then die. That's what I think the pain trade is. Or, you know, even the good performing ones do 5x, okay? And if you could sell 5x, that's a great trade. If you only just got into these alts at the lows and they're up 5x already, then again, you know, well done. That's a great trade. But I think the majority of the market will F this up by, once this thing does 2, 3, 4, 5x off the lows, instead of thinking, okay, I better nail down some of my gains, they're going to be sat there going, Lambo season, 100x easy on this, right? And it's just not going to give it to you. It's going to do this. That's what I think. So the reason I bring this up is simply to say, if I'm going to be wrong, this is what you should look out for, okay? This is what it would look like for me to be wrong. And if you are the kind of trader that just wants to be unbiased and open to all possible outcomes, then you would also probably do well to consider this as one possibility. It does not have to be the most probable outcome for you. It does not have to be your base case, okay? But if these pumps start to stop very short and start to reverse fast, then you might be able to look back and say, okay, Camel did say that was one possible outcome, and that seems to be at play now. So just don't be one of those people that's like, I'm not selling until I get 100 or 1000x minimum, okay? Because most of these alts are not going to do that. They're simply not. And don't be one of these people that says, well, total 3 is going to break out to new all-time highs. Yeah, I believe you, right? I believe it'll probably go to, 2x, 3x even where it is now, okay? That's absolutely possible for me. But it only needs 1, 2, 3 altcoins in there to do 20x plus. And the rest can do basically nothing, and you'll still get that total 3 hit and target. So just keep that in mind, right? There's the difference between alt season and a handful of alts carrying these indexes on their back. And of course, we saw that exact same thing in tech stocks, right? We saw the Mag 7 carry the US indexes on their back, right? 7 stocks did really well, dragged the indexes up, and everything else was just doing nothing. So again, I stand with this until invalidated, and hopefully now you can see if I'm invalidated, if I'm going to be invalidated, this is what it would look like. I will say this, ETH BTC has started to move, right? ETH BTC has made a low, right? But every time I come back here, the thing's got a lot of work to do, hasn't it? It really does. And so the thing to look out for here is if this thing starts to blast off and break out, then you can start to say, told you so, Camel. You were obviously always wrong about alt season, right? But if what we get here is failure to even make it to the purple, okay, it rolls over from here, or worse still, we get a big pop, and then we reject at resistance and move to new lows, okay, then somewhere in here might be an idea to be thinking, oh man, maybe that crazy camel on the internet is right, okay? Maybe there's some merit to what he says. And again, I say all of this out of love, right? I don't care if alts do nothing or if they go 100x, right? It really doesn't make any difference to my life. I don't hold any, so I don't care, right? And people will be like, wow, what about opportunity cost? Well, look, I miss pumps every day. I have done every day. I will do every day. I don't care, right? I genuinely doesn't matter to me at all. But I am seriously concerned, okay? Because let's be honest, very, very few people thought this is where ETH BTC would be at this point in the cycle. Very, very, very few people thought that this is what the ETH BTC chart would look like. Many of those alts, okay, I see it in the comments all the time and stuff. People are like, yeah, well, my alt's up 30% today, right? But your alt just made new lows, right? Your alt did this all the way to new lows, below the cycle lows or whatever, and then it popped up 20-30%, and you're going, ha, told you so. No, bro, you bought here, right? That's where you bought, and now you're going, it's up 20%. Yeah, but it was down 90 before that, right? So anyway, again, I'm not saying this to crush people's dreams or anything. I'm just trying my best to make you guys aware of one possible scenario, okay? Hope I'm wrong. I would love nothing more than to see this. Really, I would, okay? For everyone else's sake. I don't waste as much time as I do on here making daily content every day just for no reason, right? I do it because I want to help people. And all I'm asking is just be aware, okay? If we reject at resistance, not a good sign. If we don't even make it to resistance and then reject, also not a good sign. And you know what else is particularly worrying, okay? Because I see a lot of people going, ha, breakout, okay? And objectively speaking, this is ETH against the dollar now. That is indeed a breakout, okay? But where's the level to watch? Right in here, okay? If we get up to this resistance line and we don't go straight through it and break out, then again, alarm bells should be ringing, okay? If we do something like this, okay, and you've really, really, really got issues, okay? Real big problems. There's also another one here that I would be watching if I was going to trade this. So even if it does get through this one, okay, even if we do get a breakout here, watch for rejection here as well, okay? Any of that, and you should be thinking, oh man, that crazy camel might just be right, okay? And of course, the inverse is true. We smash through this, okay, and then smash through this, then feel free to come back in my comments. I know everyone's going to anyway, and be like, ha, told you so, right? That's fine. That's absolutely fine. So I've been wrong plenty of times before. I'll be wrong plenty of times in the future. But as always, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about staying on the right side of the trade. And most importantly, it's about knowing your invalidations, okay? So this is what it would look like. Other than that, good luck to all the holders. It's going to be an interesting and wild ride. The last thing I wanted to point out, okay, is gold happens to be right here. This is what I believe. I believe we're on our way to a weekly cycle low, and then it should be party time. Just as the market is underexposed to Bitcoin at the moment, I genuinely believe the market is underexposed to gold. And I still see plenty of people saying things like, it's a boomer metal, right? Seriously, something worth considering, I believe, okay? This is a pretty crazy setup, and I'm very, very excited about it. Other than that, what is there to say, right? 82k Bitcoin, long and strong, happy days. Gold, I believe, is top for that weekly cycle. We'll be looking for the weekly cycle low soon. And then, like I said, it should be party time for gold and the metals. The stock market needs to hold its third angles, right? We'll see about this. And I wonder if we do get this yellow squiggle. Let's get rid of this. I wonder if we do get something akin to this play out, okay? That would make a lot of sense. It would give Bitcoin the space to complete that move, as I said earlier. And then we would be looking for that extended bear market decline as a global recession takes hold. And notice how the Dixie, okay, dollar milkshake in play, deflationary crash in play, okay? Need to see left translation and failure here. If we do, then we can open up lower numbers and the major cycle lows not being in yet, the major yearly ones. But this right translates and starts to move higher. And again, right, the base case hypothesis is slowly but surely becoming more and more validated by the moment. I'm your boy Camel. I hope you're doing well in life. Welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. And until next time, take care. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel Finance got the markets key. Taking us normies on a bumpy